Hi everyone, this is Rochelle, and I just wanted to shuffle a few cards for the new year, so let's see what comes in. So just asking for the reading to be blessed, which is a necessary component to whenever we're going to be calling upon those sort of energies. And you want to make sure that the right energies are surrounding you and the messages are coming through from a divine place. So these ones, I'm just going to do 3 cards. So these are an Aboriginal healing oracle. So I bought them down at a place called Mogo down south. So yeah, they're pretty special. All right. So the first one is native geranium release. So which is, pretty fitting for the start of the year, even though, in an ideal world, a lot of us would have liked to have gotten rid of everything and released every part, at the end of 2024. But, in the humanness world, it doesn't always work like that. So just releasing any part of you that, and things, emotions and parts of you that you're just wanting to let go of, that feel like they're lingering in the background, because when we hold on to those things, it's like bringing that weight with you. Even though there's still a habit that I want to release that came through to 2025, but it's still just about, making peace, I think, as well. Like, that's what I've thought too. Stop keeping the weight in it. To release something is to release something, not to, bring it down and try and squash it down more. It's like, I sort of think it's like that, holding a tennis ball under the water. It was just two. Holding a tennis ball under the water for a little while, or even a basketball. It's like, for a little while, that's easy, you sort of just hold it under there. But after a little while, that takes energy and that takes effort. And then what happens when you let go? It pops up. So it releases. So this one is kangaroo plum. So honesty. So, and I think those two can go hand in hand as well, because to release things, sometimes there are that underlying things that we need to be honest about and to realize and to make peace with. And the honesty, look, I'm a big one. I pride myself on truth and being honest, being honest in my dealings and authentic. Though I think sometimes the win with honesty is being honest with ourselves and not wanting to fight ourselves. It's just 333. Not wanting to turn a blind eye to the truth, just looking at it. And there was actually, and forgiveness. So forgiveness, I just think those 3 sit really well together. So release, honesty, and forgiveness. So forgiveness and honesty can be as well, just because you were a victim in the story, in that particular scenario and things like that, doesn't mean you didn't have a role to play in that. Sometimes when we have our trauma-based wounds and when we too are operating from survival mode, we might have had an incident, an experience with a narcissistic energy, and that done this and done that and said this, and it's not saying that that doesn't suck, and it's not saying that that didn't happen. It's not even saying that that person isn't bad or wrong, it's just 444. It's just saying that what role did we play, in that scenario? Because 9 times out of 10, if we were honest with ourselves, we could say that we seem red flags at the beginning, or we've seen parts that didn't necessarily feel quite right, though there might have been benefits there, whether it be, you know, an area that you loved or a lifestyle that you loved, or, you know, they may have had money, they may have bought you things, they may have treated you a certain way, so much so that you turned a blind eye to, and yeah, you know, you sort of ignored that part of you that was trying to show you, because the benefits were greater than what you thought at the time that that alarm bell was ringing. So yeah, you know, so I feel, you know, and then even to be honest with ourselves in the sense to say, yes, I forgive you for not being the way that, you know, I wanted you to be. But sometimes when we're angry at another, we're actually really angry at ourselves for what we've allowed. So that is where honesty can come in with those things. Yeah, so that's Tawny Frogmouth, consideration. Yeah. So, and I feel that, you know, consideration for others is always a vital component to, you know, just being a fairly good person, but considering all the factors as well, of, you know, the scenario and things like that. And again, you know, just being honest with ourselves, in what role, you know, and how we allowed that to play out. Even if it's to be honest with ourselves, to say, yeah, I did move that goalpost time and time again. I did self-abandon myself, you know, in different scenarios, because I felt that it was easier. You know, it was easier to put me aside, or to bite my tongue, than to speak up and to sort of say, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't feel quite right. Or what did you mean by that? You know, what did you, yeah, exactly that. What did you mean by those words? Or, you know, when somebody's trying to gaslight you, it's like, yeah, you know, just calling it in a moment, rather than, you know, just sort of smiling it off, or, you know, sort of sitting back for a little while and being a little bit withdrawn, a little bit huffy, even sometimes a little bit passive aggressive, back at them, sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, you know, those parts of us don't really wash on the scale of things either. You know, that's where we still can, even though it feels like we've been punished, you know, in those relationships, and Lord knows I know it firsthand. That's why I know these background bits as well. And yeah, you know, oh golly gosh. I was just thinking of a couple of scenarios then. And one was when I was in a relationship, and, you know, he had a salon, and, you know, there was different parts of that, you know, he lived near the water. We went out for dinner all the time. We did have a lot of fun. We did laugh a lot, though there were still parts that were quite narky and quite projecting, and there were still parts of me that knew that, you know, when somebody throws a sentence out there and it's like, oh, that was a bit of a backhanded compliment, what did you mean by that? You know, so there's still parts that we can turn a blind eye because we want something so badly. And that's what I was going to say. That's where the karma can be ours, to the lessons that need to come in for us as well. Because really, there should be no person, no situation, no scenario that should trump your power, you know, your inner harmony, your inner peace, and things like that. And when we jeopardize those parts of ourselves in the name of whatever, you know, whatever you got going, then that's where the lesson becomes ours, and they will get their karma. You know, I'm a big believer as well. You don't need to wish bad upon somebody else. If anything, I pray for those people and I pray for them to evolve, because I pray that they are not going to run around hurting somebody else the same, and they're not going to go around just with that toxic energy, you know, projecting it and wounding, you know, just with messy energy in the world. Though we too need to take responsibility for what we've allowed, and that, you know, it's uncomfortable, and it's not saying nobody asks for to be treated like that. Nobody asks for those things to come in, but it's not about what we want or don't want. It can be about what we need, and the universe and God, you know, is about lessons and integrity, you know. But that aside, you know, again, you don't know until you know. When you're running on survival mode and autopilot for protection mechanisms and things like that, you don't know. Though it's about loving yourself more, as just double one, double one. It's about loving ourselves more and having our own back. You know, self-love, self-care equals self-worth, you know, to equal self-trust again. So we can read the room and we can read other people's energies more clearly, to sort of go, I either need to put a boundary into place here, or I need to step back a little bit from this energy and from this connection. So yeah, so I'm going to leave that at that for now, though more to be shared. I will be sharing more soon, and I'll be sharing different ways on how you can work with me soon as well. So lots more to be shared. Have a beautiful day and a great week. Happy healing.